The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, welcome to the Ring at All Out Sports. My name is Leo Connors and I'm your host. And tonight I got a very special guest, I guess former professional wrestler, Tony Roy.
Let's say retired. Semi-retired?
Semi-retired. I really appreciate you coming on, Tony.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. It's a real
we
pleasure.
haven't seen each other in a long time.
Years.
So let's get right into it because there's so much to talk about. And this, guys, is part one. Part two is in a couple weeks. I like to do a little get-to-know-you interview at the start. Where'd you grow up?
Oh, right here. Born and raised in Nashua. I never left. Traveled a lot, but always came back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you play sports as a kid?
Yeah, being Canadian,
Yeah.
the whole family's from Quebec, so hockey was my big thing, you know,
Nice.
as a little guy. And
Yeah.
then, but I was a wrestling fan from age 6, maybe. So that was always the long-aspired dream, is to go to wrestling as soon as I possibly could. So
Wow. I'm a huge hockey fan, too, in the Bruins, unfortunately.
what a shame, huh?
Did
Jesus.
you watch it
Coming
yesterday?
off of that, I did. I'm
Oh,
still,
man.
whether it's on the Flowers. You
Yep,
know? What
I
a
know.
shame. What a shame.
So, you said you started watching wrestling when you were 6 years old. How were you introduced to it? Did your dad put it on, or did you just find it on your own?
Yeah, I think, looking back, I think it was just flipping through the channels. Yeah. Back in our day, we had, maybe 12, 13 channels?
Right.
You know, the old analog TV.
Yep.
So I pushed one. I was fat. I think the first guy I saw was, I don't know if the kids remember this, Moose Monroe. Remember Big Moose Monroe with the big bald guy?
Yeah.
And he just caught my attention. Look at this monster beating up on this little guy. And it just, from there, it just hooked instantly.
Wow.
Instantly.
Mine was Chief Jay. First
Chief
guy
Jay
I ever
Strong.
saw. And I don't
Oh, my
even
God.
know that if he didn't have the headdress on going to the ring, I don't know if I would have kept it. That just drew me. I was like, what a character.
Right, almost like a hero. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Were your friends into wrestling when you were younger?
I think I turned him on to it. I was the
Okay.
first one, I think, and I'd bring in, hey, you got to see this on TV. It's on, I think, it was Saturday mornings from Boston at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, 11 o'clock,
Was
yeah.
it WOVI?
Yep.
Oh, my. Then there was one on Sundays on Channel 9.
Channel 9.
Yeah, so we got those two, All-Star and Championship,
Yeah.
right? Oh, boy, we go back. We're both 29 now, right? 29?
Yeah, 29. Yeah, that's it. I'm
29
29
eternally.
For 23 years, I've been
3 years
29.
or so, right? Oh, man.
When did you decide you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
Very early.
Yeah.
I mean, I think from the time I saw it, I said, this is what I want to do to my parents.
Right.
And they're like, he's going to outgrow this.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
when he gets older, it's the phase he's going through. And they turned me on to hockey. So they said, you got to play hockey. All the Canadians do it. You got to join our... But it always stayed in the back of my mind, I want to wrestle. So when high school came along and you got to pick a career choice, I said, I want to try going to wrestling school. It was a Killer Kowalski school. It was in Boston, you know.
Right.
And they said, you haven't outgrown that yet? Are you serious? So they were hoping I get discouraged from it, but sure enough, it stuck.
So now, how did you hear about Killer's school?
I started magazines. Remember back in the day
I
before
still
the
have
internet?
like 1,000 of them.
Same here. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I swear to God, we separated at birth, I think.
Exactly.
But yeah, back then the magazines were like our internet.
Yes.
The only way to keep up with what was going on in territories was to get the Apter mags.
Yep.
So I'd get those, and I saw Kowalski was one of the few guys that ran. There wasn't many back then.
Right.
Wrestling schools, and ironically, it was right here in New England. So I followed up on that, found a phone number. There was no internet to look up the phone number. You had to dig through this stuff.
Right.
I found Kowalski in the Stoneham phone book,
Okay.
Stoneham Mass phone book, and got it that way. Called him up, and yeah, the rest is history.
Wow. Now, how old were you when you went to the school the first time just to check it out? And did your dad go with you?
My dad, I was terrified. My
say,
dad was
'cause
with
I
me, and I
would've
had
met
one
my
other
dad
guy.
would've.
Oh, you did? Of course. Yeah, I was
know.
scared. I was 17, so I had my license.
Wow.
I was afraid to drive into Boston, big
Yep.
city. It was Malden, right outside of the city. And I had met a guy, Marty Michaud. I was training at the YMCA in Nashua. There was not any established gyms in Nashua, really.
Right.
YMCA was the best thing to go to. And we decided to go together. He was a big bodybuilder kid, and I was maybe 200 pounds.
Wow.
17 years old.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Senior
That's
year in high
still
school.
good size, though, for 17
Not
years
bad,
old.
right.
Yeah.
I was lifting. I've been lifting since I was 15, so yeah, I
Right.
put some size on and went over there, taking a chance. You walk in to see these monsters, like, wow, I got a way to go. But at least I had time on my side. I was a kid. You know?
Right, right.
So,
Well, so one of the questions wasn't who trained you, but Killer Kowalski trained you.
right, correct.
Who else was in the class
Correct.
with you?
Oh,
Do you remember?
gosh. Yeah, we had like an all-star class. I mean, a lot
I
of these
can
guys.
imagine.
The day I went, no joke, Big John Studd was there. He was in Boston rehabilitating for some injury, and Kowalski was working with him. So you walk in, you see the 7-foot guy, and then you got Kowalski there. Not long after, Perry Saturn joined, who,
Yep.
he became a
Love
big guy.
Perry,
My
too.
God, Perry's fantastic. Later on, the whole Triple H saga started.
Yep.
That's about 3 years later.
We'll get into
after I came
that.
in. Absolutely. But those are big guys. Later on, we met China there.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole group. Prince Albert came through there. But yeah, my time, John Studd was there when I came in, and not long after was Perry Saturn. This was the first of the bunch.
Nice. Now, Brian Walsh, I know you were friends with,
Oh, my
right?
gosh,
Now was
yes.
he there already? Like,
Yes.
he had already trained, or was he
trained,
still there?
Yeah, he had trained. He'd gone to Europe. He was in
okay.
Europe over there. Yeah,
For
and that
Otto?
was a huge Ottawans.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yes, that was Germany. He was there for a good while too, and they loved him there. He went with Stefan Driscoll.
Right.
And yeah, they were a tag team over there. I met Brian Longer when he came back here. What a good kid. One of my
Yeah.
favorites. One of my favorites.
Nice. I know he's a hell of a worker, man.
up
I
traveling
still look him up. Like, I'll Google like your matches, his. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
just, I
right,
love
right.
watching
He's
the older
terrific.
stuff.
He's in California now, I think,
Is he
right?
really?
I believe so.
Good
Last
for
I heard,
him.
I miss him. He's a good kid.
The weather is a lot better than here in California, that's for
I'd say,
sure.
I'd say.
Why don't you tell us about your very first match?
First match, wow. Honestly, yeah, I went to, and this didn't come out till much later because you couldn't let people know, but Kowalski, used to farm us out to WWF.
Right.
So he needed guys immediately to go to some tapings. It was in Binghamton, New York, Hershey, Pennsylvania. We did a whole loop there.
Right.
And Patterson called up, came to the school and said, I need a few guys. And so sure enough, they asked me to come if I was interested. How about this kid? He's pretty good. Can he? And yeah, he's had 9 or 10 matches, Walter said. The
you
big
hadn't had
Polish
any?
accent. He hadn't had a match yet.
Wow.
You could take him because Walter got a cut of our payday.
Right, of course, yeah.
So he sends me along here. Never having been in a professional ring, just the school ring, which was a boxing ring,
Right.
with the middle, the hard middle and the hard
Yeah,
ropes.
yeah.
And they send me on the road with these top pros. I mean, top, this is WWF. So it was Binghamton, New York. Figuring, even if you show up, you're probably not going to work there. They're going to put you down there, take a look at you, bring you back.
Right.
Oh, no, sure enough, Rene Goulet's there and Tony Gurria, they're the agents. They booked me with the Powers of Pain, first match. Me and George Scullin, which was Arnold Scullin's
Yes.
son, a
Yeah.
legendary manager. And that was my first match, Warlord and Barbarian. Stiff son of a gun, nice as pie, but
Yeah.
oh my Lord, have mercy.
Wow.
So yeah, what a way to start, huh?
Yeah.
What a way to
I
start. Next
figured you
night-
would have had a couple of independent matches
Oh,
first.
me too. I went in there hoping, hoping. But Kowalski comes back. How'd you do? Not bad. I mean, geez, you know.
Wow.
Somebody said the next night I had Honky Tonk and Valentine in a tag, so
Yep.
they kept me in tag matches, which were easier guys
Yeah,
to work
yeah.
with. But the first guy, what
So
a rude
what,
awakening.
Rhythm and Blues, right? Were
Rhythm
they
and Blues,
Rhythm and Blues?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Wow.
just
I had
together.
read an interview with you too that you said Honky Tonk Man was good to you.
He was the first guy that was actually respectful. He didn't know how to take a
Nice.
finish. He was willing to go over it. No, don't worry about it. Come with me. Took me off to the side. A real pro. We keep in touch to this day. We still,
That's awesome.
he's a good
I
guy.
am a big fan of the Honky Tonk.
He was a good guy, all around
I
entertainer.
loved his Memphis stuff as Wayne Ferris.
Yes, exactly.
I still
exactly.
watch a
Blonde
lot of
Bombers.
Memphis stuff.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's just move. Who was your very first wrestling hero? Mine was Bruno.
Bruno, of course, right? That's
Bruno
the
yours
generation. That's
too?
the generation. A little after that, I came in 76, 77. I was a big fan of Billy Graham, believe it or not.
Nice.
Just because of the flamboyancy.
Yes,
I'd never
absolutely.
seen somebody so colorful. I think he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, oh, way ahead.
So, and what a feud that was. I mean, he couldn't work a lick, but he was
Right.
so charismatic with the delivery of lines, the colors, the
Yeah.
tie-dye, the body. One of the first guys to be all jacked up like that. So he just fascinated me.
That's awesome because it's funny because he had, I guess, at the end, near the end of his run as champion, he wanted to go as a turn.
face, right.
And if they would have did that, there may not have ever been a Hulk Hogan.
See, I
Seriously.
agree. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Because people loved him. They cheered him
Yeah.
regardless. One of the few
They were
first
cheering
heels
him.
that were cheering for him. And
Yeah.
had they made that turn, and Vince Sr. wanted to keep his promise and give it to the All-American.
Right.
But had he not done that, who knows what would have happened, right? He was
That's
such a
amazing,
talent.
right?
Oh, my gosh.
And the All-American, we all know Bob Backlund.
I got to work with him, too. But
you
my
really?
God.
Nice.
Great technical wrestler, but the charisma of, good Lord.
But yet he still was able to hold that belt for so long.
Yeah,
you
still
know
the
what I
second
mean?
longest
Because he
reigning-
could work.
He could work. He had no
could
one.
work.
He could tie guy in pretzels. You know?
Absolutely.
Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing.
So, I was going to say, what companies did you work for when you first broke into the business? But it seemed that you skipped right over all the
Imagine that. It's like
independents.
going from student
Now,
to Bill Gates.
Did you work any indies, though?
I did, yeah, absolutely.
Like, what about some of the companies you worked for?
The IWF was the number one because
Right.
Kowalski ran his own league.
Yep.
He had a show for a while, I guess, Bedlam from Boston.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a little after, I came in after it was off the air, but so he was running shows regularly. Richard Burns, which
Yep.
was the USWF,
Yep.
which I ended up working with as a trainer later on.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I worked for them as well. A few little guys, New England Wrestling Federation, Cliff Bart's up in Vermont. So I did a lot around this area here.
Right.
But WF kept me traveling constantly, so I always had places to go. They gave me house shows, they gave me TVs. So,
Wow.
so I kept busy pretty much. I could do it, without a regular job for years, and I loved it. Absolutely
Now,
loved it.
so how long did it take them to because like I said, I read an interview that you had done.
Right.
And you had said that they decided they wanted to use you on a regular basis. They just
Yes.
wanted to keep you in WWF.
Exactly, which was fantastic.
How did that, who was the one that you talked to about that? Who came over you and was like, hey, we want you?
The closest to me, because at the time the office was all French Canadian.
Okay.
Terry Garvin, Rene
helped you.
Goulet. Oh my God, they were all exactly.
Yeah.
All those guys were running the whole thing, and plus the French guys there. The Rougeaus were there, Rick Martel.
Right.
So they had a lot of pull. Rene loved me and said, you know what? We'd like to skip over Kowalski and give you the whole pay. You start picking guys. Because the sad thing was, and not to disrespect Walter, because
Yeah.
I love him, he used to send anyone that came through the school just to get that pay cut.
right.
He'd get extra $100 off all of
You
us.
can't blame
you
him
send
on
10
that
guys,
either.
get a grand in this pocket. Right.
Right.
But he's like, we're getting a lot of duds from that school. Could you pick the guys? We'll trust you to bring in guys that can only work and actually really,
Right.
not just be there to get thrown around. But so I started picking them, which caused a little bit of friction with me and Kowalski. Of
Right.
course, he had heat with everybody. But so that might have been maybe 92, I would think. So about 4 years of paying my dues there, they realized the kid can work. He's consistent and he shows up. He's not a nut, doesn't go off the road. And a lot of these guys drank, they did drugs.
Right.
So I was very straight-laced. I
Yep.
was terrified. I was so happy just to be there,
Yeah.
Even as enhancement, I was perfectly happy with that.
Right.
Being a guy 5'10", maybe 200 pounds at the time. So that worked out beautifully.
That's amazing. Now, did you was it like the same guys? Did you use the same guys most of the time?
Pretty much, because
they
Goulet
were
loved
good?
them. Right, Tony Goulet and Rene Goulet loved them. So they kept saying, hey, bring this guy back, bring that guy
Right.
back. I was teaming up with like Bert Centeno. Brian came in when he came back from Europe.
Okay.
They had me work with Brian, bring him along. Steve King came in the mix.
King,
Remember
another
Steve
good
King?
worker.
Another good guy. Not a big guy again, but a fantastic little worker. So
Yeah.
we brought him into there. And a few of the guys from Kowalski's, gosh, some of the names escape me. It's been so many years. But it worked from there. It was fantastic. So I almost had a regular connection with them.
Right.
So that was beautiful. That was a hell of a
I
time.
always thought that you and Steve King look a little alike.
And we did a thing on the Independence. We actually
you
did a twin thing where we do
yeah.
almost a doink thing, but we didn't need the makeup. We had the receding hairline, we had the mullets,
Yeah.
the unibrow.
When I was
So-
looking up stuff to talk to you about, I saw
Right.
the picture and I'm like, is that his brother?
Oh,
And then I
that's
read it
funny.
and said Steve King. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
I never realized
yeah,
that.
Yeah, we do the switch, to turn the ref
Yeah,
around, put
yeah.
Steve in there, put the belt on him. It was fantastic.
That's
so
awesome.
He's a good guy.
All right, so listen, a lot of people around New England know that you broke Triple H in the business.
That's a true story. That's
Yep.
a true story.
How did that come about?
Oh wow, what a story! And that's the most. That's my claim to fame. I swear to God, still waiting for my props on that one.
Yeah, I hear ya.
But geez, look where he ended up. Truth be told, he was a natural God-given talent.
Right.
It could have been anybody, but
And a huge fan, correct?
exactly, just like me and you,
Right.
he was a historian. He followed it way back. He had a collection of magazines,
Yep.
as big as my archive, and he loved the Southern Territory as much as up here. So he was a
Yeah.
big Ric Flair guy like me growing up in the 80s at that point. But he initially, in '89, 1 year after I was there, came to Kowalski's school one day. It was a weekend, like a Saturday or a Sunday, and told Kowalski, now we were in high school together, but we never really met. He was a year ahead of me.
Right.
We'd cross paths, but National High right down the road here is such
Yeah.
a big place. Didn't really know much from high school other than who he was. Skinny, tall kid, beanpole. But he went to the school on a weekend, and Kowalski said, where are you from? He said, Nashua. Oh, that guy's from Nashua. Go talk to him. Maybe you guys can carpool. And he came up to me, and I said, I know you from Gold's Gym down on Amherst Street.
Right.
So he said, yeah, I'm the assistant manager there. The place had just opened within 5-6 months. I finally had a big gym to train at
Right.
when I was in town. So he said, how much it cost to come here? I said, I think it's $2,000. Now back in '89, that's a lot of money.
is a lot
Good
of
God,
money,
especially when you're making $7 at the in an hour at Gold, which he admits to doing. I mean,
Yep.
boy, oh boy, that's what the payday was. That was so. That was the lie. He never came back to the school. It was too expensive.
Right.
So the next time I saw him was at a training section at the gym. I was at Gold's
Okay.
Gym on a weekday morning, and he came up and said, hey, you're the guy from Kowalski's school. We went to high school together, blah, blah. Would you consider working with me in your spare time, maybe just teaching me some stuff since I can't afford to go? I'll be saving up meanwhile. When I get there, I'll have some kind of polish. And I said, sure. He was a good guy. He was a manager there. He'd get me some free drinks and stuff in return. And,
Yeah.
I said, you make me a training program, because he was a trained, certified trainer.
Right.
And we'll work on that together. That was our barter. So I'd bring him to the basketball court inside the Gold's Gym, which I guess now is it Fit Lab down on
Yeah,
Amherst Street?
yes,
Fit Lab,
it
right.
is
But
Fit
it's still
Lab.
the same from what I'm told.
Right.
So he'd lock up, being the assistant manager, he could close the gym up, the basketball portion of it, and put some mats on the floor. We'd pull off the walls that were behind the basketball courts,
Yep.
and we literally worked on that for about 6 months. And he learned everything but the ropes. You know, he
Right.
learned all the basics, and that's how that started. And it started a friendship as well. We became really good friends because we found out how much wrestling history we had together. He wasn't just
Right.
off the street kid. He loved it.
That's awesome. Now, you also was his very first opponent.
I was.
And do you remember a lot about that match? I mean,
I do.
you must have called the match, right?
Oh yeah, the whole thing, and he was
Okay.
expecting it. And the funny thing is, Kowalski, he was going to Kowalski's after, what happened is after training for 6 months, he got enough money.
Yeah.
I brought him to the school one day because they had Tatsumi Fujinami in from Japan on a weekday afternoon. Kowalski asked for a few guys to come spar with him. He picked me and Perry Saturn. And I told Paul, Triple H,
Yep.
hey, I'm going to Kowalski's school like on a Monday afternoon. Do you want to come down and check it out? Tatsumi Fujinami's going to be there, he's a god in Japan.
He must have flipped
So
out.
right, so can I just come meet him? I'm just going to sit there. I won't make a noise. So I said, sure. By that time, he jacked up. I mean, Paul had put on about 40 pounds of muscle. I mean,
Wow.
he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And Kowalski saw him and said, holy shit, look at you. So he was watching. Tatsumi was part of both of us, Perry and myself, and then he pointed and said, young boy. So, no, it's not one of my students. He's just coming over. But he had good look. So Kowalski came up to him and said, listen, we can work out some kind of a deal where we can actually finance you. You can just pay, say, $100 a week instead of
Right.
if you want to come work here. You look fantastic. He was like 6'3", and by then he was about 240.
Right.
So that's how that all started. That's how, and Kowalski didn't think he was ready to get a match yet, but this guy, New England Wrestling Federation, Cliff Bartz in Vermont, needed some guys. So one day he said, Tony, I'll book you. Who do you want to work with? I said, I got a kid at the school we've been training with. I worked with him personally for 6 months. He's been training at Kowalski's. Kowalski won't give him a break yet. He says he's too green, he's not ready. Would you consider, whatever you want? By this point, I had some experience. This was 1990, I want to say late 92, maybe, early 93. I think it's on the YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can see it there.
It was actually just posted on my page. But to my next question is,
Get out of here,
the
really?
referee for that match and many of your New England matches
Oh, Lord.
was Rich Lannon.
Yes.
And something that you don't know is the mother of my older children is Rich's first cousin. I've known Rich for a long time.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No kidding. Oh,
Yep.
Rich was one of my favorites. What a good guy.
He has a
posts
lot
all
of
kind
nice
of stuff.
things to say about you.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. A real true good guy. And he, I know he's got so much on there. His collection of New England stuff is
yeah,
through
it's
the roof. He
amazing
seemed to
what
keep
he
it all.
has, yeah.
I've got it all on VHS myself. How do I
Right.
convert?
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's crazy. Tell us
Amazing.
about your relationship with Rich.
Oh, Rich, yeah, I met him coming out to school too. He came in, I think, 90, maybe 91. I mean, he might correct me on that, but and he had told Kowalski off the bat, I'm too small to be a wrestler. Could I
Right.
do something else? A manager and be a referee? And Kowalski looked at him and said, yeah, we need some referees. Why don't you?
Yeah.
And we hit it off instantly. He was a good guy, and he was willing to do anything. He listened. He had respect for the business, respect for the guys there before him. Zero ego, which is
Right.
huge when you come in. You don't come in there with a
Yeah.
big head. So what a gentleman he was. So I used to ask for Rick personally for my matches, knowing he'd always be there for the thing. And when me and Paul started putting our matches together, right there from the first one, he would, diagram it. He was right there for everything. Once we tell him where to be,
Yep.
didn't have to tell Rich twice. He understood the business. So what a good guy. I'm glad to see he's still doing it.
I'll tell you, I honestly and truly believe, not just because I've known him for years,
Right.
one of the best, if not the best, of all time in this area as a referee. And there's some great referees. That's
Right.
no knock on anyone.
Oh, no.
But he was that good.
I have to agree. Expression, body language,
Yeah.
everything. I mean, he conveys what he's trying to get to the crowd. He does that
could
so
bump,
well.
too.
And he could bump. And he took one for us every night. He took a clothesline. I mean, my God, take his head off. And he'd ask for it. He would not lay it in for crying out loud.
Right.
Don't be afraid. So what a good guy.
He is
what
a
a good
great
Rich
guy.
is fantastic.
I'm sure he's watching. So, Rich, what's
oh,
up,
we miss
bud?
you, buddy.
Something that I couldn't wait to talk to you about, and a lot of people hit me up on Facebook too, asking me, are you going to talk about your WWF run,
Right, sure.
And how long? How did you last that long as enhancement talent?
Isn't
That's
it brutal?
amazing.
I know.
No,
Tell
really
me about
though,
it.
right?
Tell me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I would have still done it, although they were phasing it out towards the end. But
Right.
Yeah, I started in '88, and I went through almost about '98 is when I realized when my mom passed away. But it, it was hard. But I was seeing guys around me. They were starting to give guys pushes and say,
Right.
if you hang out, we'll do something with you. And at first we thought they were full of it, but then they started giving guys like the Hardy Boys a break. The Hardys were, Brian Walsh was getting good looks. Scott Taylor.
Right.
These are all guys I was traveling with, and I was seeing them get pushes. So I said, you know what? If they're telling me maybe I shouldn't leave and listen to them. So at least they were good about it. But it did take a toll on my body. Now I'm feeling it years later, you know?
Right.
It's going to catch
well,
up
it's a
to you
good thing you
eventually.
stayed in shape all the years, too, and continue to do it now, because that
Trying.
must help.
Oh, it does.
you know?
Yeah, big time. Big time. A lot of the guys let themselves go. You go to reunions now and you see these
Right.
guys and wow. But yeah, it's very important.
Also, I didn't mention at the beginning, which I should have, you're also a New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer.
I
Inducted
am.
in what, 2011?
2011, absolutely. Yeah,
with Joe Bruin.
Joe Bruin.
He's coming to his shows, the New England Pro Wrestling. I keep saying, I was going to say Brian Fury's school.
Oops.
The New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Fan Fest and the Hall of Fame ceremony
Right.
is going to be June 2nd. It's from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'll be there. You guys should check it out. Joe Bruin puts on an awesome show down
Class
there.
act,
It's
class
really-
act, 100%,
Love Joe.
100%. The year I went, Chief Jay Strongbow was there. Speaking
Yeah.
of Tito Santana, my God, Rick Martel. So yeah, he brings some guys right out of the
great
bat. I mean, you
work,
really feel like you're at a cauliflower rally. You know, you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
do.
Have
there.
you ever gone to that?
Never got. Always wanted to. Always wanted
We
to.
should do it next
My
year, 'cause
buddy.
I've always wanted to
Is
go.
it in Vegas?
Yeah.
I would love to do that. John Rodeo goes. Remember John Rodeo,
Yeah,
the man?
I
He
actually,
goes to
we're
some
going to
of
bring
these.
him up later. Somebody had a question
Oh,
about
fan,
John.
he texted me this morning. Go
Did he
figure.
really?
He found I was on the show.
Nice. Hey, I hope you watch it, John.
God bless
If
him.
not, I'm sure you'll watch later.
Much love, buddy.
Who are some, and again, I told you off air, I don't want you to bury anybody or anything like that, but who are some of the better guys to work? Because I did read that interview, like I said, and you
Right.
guys, the Lethal Lottery.
Oh, sure, it certainly was. That's what we called
You
it.
know,
That's what we
right.
called it back then. It was
So-
just a chalkboard.
Who are the better guys to work with?
The guys you were hoping for were like the Hearts were fantastic.
Yeah.
Brett and Owen were unbelievable. I got to work with both of them. Good gosh, who was I love working with Backlund. I mean, that guy could work with you.
Right.
Guys that were willing to work. Bam Bam Bigelow was just a dream. I mean, this guy was so light. He was careful with you, and he allowed you to do your own stuff too. These guys didn't believe in just enhancement. They wanted to give the guy a break.
Right.
I mean, he knew what you're going through, and I learned so much from doing it. So those guys were sensational. And it was a real class act in the bunch. Jesse Ventura was still an announcer back then, where I was very nervous as a kid, and he explained it in a great way that I hold to this day. He say, because I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm too small. Oh, he said, we can't do it without you, kid. Without you, there's no me, there's no him. It's because of you that we're there. And he broke it down to there is two things in wrestling. There's the architect. That's the guy that draws the house,
Yeah.
and there's the carpenter, the guy that builds the house. You're a carpenter. Without you, the architect can't build. So I looked at it that way and said, wow. So there was no longer such thing as a job guy to me. Then it was,
Right.
we were carpenters.
And I'm glad that you're using the enhancement because I don't believe in the word job. I don't.
Right. No, it's insulting. Yeah, it
Because
is
I
insulting.
really do think enhancement talent is the perfect, because you're enhancing the talent.
And without
you know?
without us, there would be none. Right.
And
exactly.
it's amazing that it was Jesse. I wouldn't,
Of
like,
all
if you would have
people,
said to
yeah.
me, guess who?
Yeah,
I
me
would've
too. Me
never
too.
guessed
And he just
Jesse.
walked by. You look nervous. You
That's
all right? And I said,
cool.
oh, geez, I don't know. I'm real nervous. But yeah, he was so good about it and built my confidence just with that statement. I look at it.
Yeah.
30 years later, I'm still holding on to it. So
Wow.
it meant something.
And now, who were some of the guys you wish you didn't have to wrestle?
Oh, good God! There is a collection of
Oh,
it,
I'm
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're probably not watching.
Well, God, I hope not. I got to make a comeback. My Lord. I mean, I hate to say it. One of my best friends there was Scott Hall, but he was stiff as oh my,
he?
those
Yeah.
chops.
He was a big dude.
The finish. He was 6'5". I mean, a real gentleman in a class act. But his finish is hard to not get hurt on.
Right, right.
He compressed two of my vertebrae. I was never the same for a Scott Hall match on a live Raw to boot. Yokozuna's finish was brutal. That bonsai drop was
yeah.
terrible. Oh my Lord. Didn't work with him till Independence, but Ultimate Warrior was. I'm sure people have heard this all the time, but he just. I think he just didn't care. He took liberties because he could. What were we going to do to him?
Yeah.
So guys like that were tough. Those were some stiff. They didn't mean anything by it, but I think they didn't know how to work or they didn't care. One of the two.
Right.
So that made it very, very hard. I hear Rick Rude. I didn't get to work with him, thank God,
Right.
but stiffed a few of my friends.
Did he?
Close fit.
Yeah.
If you'd mess up, you'd pay the price in the ring. But Rick didn't take any. So
Wow.
that's a shame.
Yeah. That's awesome. And how, obviously you were treated good by Jesse, but how were you treated by most of the biggest stars? Were they good to
Yeah.
all you guys? Not just yourself, but your
Pretty
friends?
much. Yeah, for the most part, I'd say 90% were very respectful. A lot of the guys that came down the path were the most respectful. Guys like Lex Luger, who just came into the business on top,
Yeah.
they treated you terribly because they didn't know what it was like to,
Right,
all these
right.
guys are worthless. They're bums. But any guy that went through it, like an Owen, I mean, they would literally go, and Mr. Perfect was another guy I dreamed to work with.
Jarrett?
Jeff Jarrett was fantastic. Always gave me half the match. Whenever I worked with Jeff,
Wow.
he did. What are you good at? I'll give you half the thing, and you come back. Yeah, another pro. When he went through he had
Exactly.
his second generation guys
Yeah.
were fantastic.
And he's
because-
still, even the second generation, he still went up, like, you know what I mean? Up the
Exactly,
ladder.
right. Yeah, oh yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So those guys were real gentlemen. So for the most part, we got respected because these guys knew what we put our bodies through to
Right.
make them look good, to make them stars. And we
Right.
were putting ourselves under for them.
Nice. And you had brought up the Ultimate Warrior being stiff. You must have heard the Andre story where Bobby Heenan said it, where he kept stiffing Andre, and all of a sudden he came in and Andre gave him the big boot or
Right,
something.
the
Oh,
big-
no,
the
that's
big
what it was.
ran the punch.
Yeah. And I guess he eased up after that.
Right, but the next
Yeah.
night, look, no clothesline.
Bobby Heenan said it much better than I
He
did.
said that
That's for
delivery
sure.
on it, yes.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
my
funny.
gosh.
Now,
So true.
who were some of your traveling partners back then? Did you travel with any of the, established guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, because the sad thing is, that's why I'm saying Hall was a good
Yeah.
guy, because they let me drive him around. And yeah, the agents would come up and say, "Could you get Scott home? Because I know he's not gonna
Right.
be." The thing is, trying to get a drunk 6'5" guy out of a bar at 2 a.m. Scott,
Yeah.
we got to get to the hotel, dude. We got to be leaving by 7 tomorrow morning. And he just wants to have another drink. And,
Yeah.
and you got to get along with this guy. You don't want to make him angry. Good God, you're going to
Right.
work with him possibly the next night. So yeah, I got to travel with him. Guys that got a little hammered. They'd ask me for rides. The agents would ask me. And then
Right.
Listen, they're hooking me up with you tonight. But I'd always have either Bert Centeno with me. Remember Bert Centeno
Yeah, yeah.
from Puerto Rico? Fantastic guy. And when they started using Brian would always be a companion for me. So we could change the wheels because these guys
Right.
would sleep in the back. I got one of the funnest ones was driving the midgets around. Should I say that? Little
Nice.
people now,
Yeah,
little
yeah.
people. Back in the day, Stinky, Blinky, and so I got to drive little Louie and little Hercules around when
Yeah.
they were doing the thing with Doink. And those guys were just a riot to travel with. I think we took a month of those guys moving around. And they were a riot. Absolutely fun.
That's awesome.
Oh boy.
How about some good road stories, or one or two? Or do you have any good
Oh,
road
there's been
stories?
tons.
I can
Kowalski
imagine.
was. Oh yeah. Because Kowalski was such a fun guy to travel with.
Right.
I mean, because he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
But he was a vegetarian.
Yep.
So very hard to dine with.
Right.
So when we started doing tapings, they brought him in as an agent. Once the fellow that Marty Jannetty broke his neck there, they needed someone to watch the enhancement talent, and
Right.
he was the judge. So they gave him a job. So now he was driving with us. So he'd rent a van and we'd go out with him. Oh my Lord, have mercy! So we could never find a place to eat that we could all agree on, because if
Right.
God forbid we'd have a steak. Here we go on a tangent of, oh, you guys are eating dead, rotting flesh. That thing
Yeah.
died back in 1972. You're putting it in your body. You eat the greens. This way they grow inside of you. So it got bad to one night where
You sound like him, though.
Oh yeah,
I've
yeah. Him,
talked to
I got
Walter
him down, and they
before.
wanted me to do the eulogy at one point, just to,
Right.
hey, you guys, stop crying, for crying out loud. No crying. But we were driving to Ontario with him. Me, Triple H, Lenny Poffo, and Jimmy Snuka. Kowalski's driving us. This is a 2-day tour, an independent gig that we were doing. Well, the guy always put his classical music on. He hated anything but classical.
Right.
So he's got that down. It's late night. We're coming back from Ontario going to Sherbrooke. And he's driving. The rest of us are pretty much sleeping out back. We've got Triple H sitting next to him. And you can see him start to, he's trying to, nodding at the wheel. I said, oh, geez, so I'm looking, I'm going, Walt's going to pass out. Sure enough, I look up, his head's down. We're just holding the wheel. We're going straight down the highway. So I scream, ah! The whole place jumps up. Now Kowalski's right. Good luck. Walter, you were sleeping. No, I was resting my eyes. So, to cover his own mistake,
Right,
it's
right.
you know what? You're so smart. You drive.
And you were probably happy at that
Glad
point,
to do
right?
it. Glad to do it. You're right. You're resting your eyes. I'll keep us all alive another night. Oh
That's
my God.
wild.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. All the memories. God bless Walter.
I went seen him at a show one time in Everett, right?
Yeah.
And there's a piece of rope hanging. And the match that was going on in the ring was not very good.
Right,
I mean,
sure.
hey, I can enjoy any match.
Absolutely.
But he looks at me. I used to sell merchandise at shows.
Right.
So he looks at me, grabs the rope, and pretends like he's going to wrap it around his neck. And that's when I was like, man, he likes to joke around. He's not that serious
Oh
all
no,
the time.
yeah, in the matches, absolutely no. Or he could walk in the middle of it and she'd go home. Go, hey, let's tell what my dime back. Oh my God, there's 2,000 people in the house, and he's,
Right.
oh, this is boring.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, character.
I wanted to bring something up to you with all the controversy of the WWE changing the women's battle royal at WrestleMania. It was originally going to be the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal, and
Yes.
ended up being the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. And there's no reason. I'm not going to bring up anything that was said about her and stuff, because I respect her. You know what I mean? I don't know
Absolutely.
anything about it. I'm just
Absolutely.
wondering, did you have any relationship with her when you worked there? And could you tell us maybe your opinion on the controversy?
Yeah, I was shocked, and I've heard both sides of it. Some people say it's absolute, fake news, like they say.
Right.
Others, back her up. So it's very hard to say. I never knew her personally. I heard nothing but good things from Kowalski, who
Right.
knew her and worked with her and brought some of her girls in all the time. And I guess then he started using the rivals. Misty Blue and Linda Dallas kind of started
Yes.
their own thing away from that camp. But I'd never heard a bad thing about Moolah. She was so respected by the women, and the longest reigning champion. I mean, I grew up watching her. I'm sure you
Yeah,
did too. You
me
know,
too.
she,
Yeah.
no one ever had the belt but Moolah.
Nobody.
So I was very surprised that they changed it last minute like that, just on accusations, nothing
Yeah.
more. So yeah, I find it hard to believe. Could be a little far-fetched, or somebody who has heat and is just trying to throw shade on the
Right.
person. So I really don't believe much in that one.
I don't either.
Not much to back it up.
And I don't know a lot of people, the women wrestlers around here, but Brittany Brown, who I know you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Is
We were
she's
champions
on
at the same
Facebook
time.
and stuff, and she was very furious about
Really?
these accusations and things,
Really?
So that's why I just wanted to bring that up with you, just to find out your opinion on that. And I feel the same way as you do.
Oh, yeah.
You
No-
know?
no question. No question.
Why didn't this come out 20 years ago? Why
Right.
is it just coming out now?
Now that she can't defend
You know what-
herself, now she's going
Exactly.
absolutely. So that's what's suspect. That's
Yeah,
why it's a
so,
little suspect. I
Brittany,
agree.
we're on your side on
Amen
that for
to that.
sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got time before we play the name game, right?
Sure.
'Cause, guys, this is a two-parter. The next one we're gonna go into all is independent stuff. But I know a bunch of you guys hit me up earlier this week, or last week I should say.
Oh, boy.
And said you wanted to talk about the WWE stuff. So I'm just gonna do a couple fan questions. that I
Fair
got.
enough. Fair enough.
The first one is from Ref Rich Landon.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm supposed to ask this off air or on air, but I'm gonna ask it on.
We're living on the edge.
What's the Roy boys?
That had to come from Rich. Wow, God bless
Is it a
him.
clean story?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay, all right,
absolutely. The Roy's boys. There's a few Roy's girls in there too. Yeah, it was. I actually had a fan club following that. Actually,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Steve King headed it up. Steve, who ended up being in the business, which
Right.
I helped him and John get into it too. John Rodeo.
Yeah.
They showed up one night at a show in that's how clearly I remember it. It was in Gardner, Mass. I was wrestling Perry Saturn, and they all had the Roy's Boys T-shirts, and they brought posters, and they started touring wherever Kowalski shows would go in New England. They would make the drive, from Burlington, Vermont, down to Connecticut, anywhere in between. I mean, they would pack a car full of guys with Roy's Boys T-shirt, Roy's Girls T-shirts, all in white, and I'd lead a cheering squad. Kowalski loved them. I mean, they really got the
Right.
crowd going. They're almost like, guys to fan the flames.
Yeah. Plants.
Exactly, without even knowing they were
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
so. So one day Kowalski brought one up and said, you know what, you're getting so much heat. We're going to have one of you guys come in the ring with Honky Tonk Man during one of my matches.
Yeah.
It was in Waltham. And get attacked. Just to get even more heat, we'll bring you back next month with another Honky Tonk Man match with all the Roy's boys in your corner. And that's really how they got into it. But yeah, they were a fan club. They were a group of fans.
And Steve King
Excuse me.
started it
And
up?
Steve King started that. He made all the T-shirts for us. And yeah, I still got all the pictures from way back when. But what a
Nice.
good guy. We're friends to this day. He just sent me one of the few things I do have, a Snapchat. Go figure. I'm a kind of an analog guy in a digital world, but that my wife is teaching me.
That's
so
cool.
God bless us. So I still keep in touch with Steve and John.
Steve King, I'd love to get you on the show too, just so you know.
Come on over,
I'm
brother.
Not,
He's
I'm
over
not
in Rhode
hard
Island.
to find. I'm always on Facebook. I'm pretty much 24/7. The next question is from a former guest and a professional wrestler, Aaron Amadeus, but Brian Privatera. He wants to know, how did you first find out about Killers? But you already answered that. You found that in the magazine.
The magazines, yeah,
Right.
the Mark magazines, yeah.
He wants to know about your Liberty Tree Mall matches.
Oh my God.
With Terra Rising, which
What a
everyone knows.
memory.
Yep.
Mr. Amadeus, God bless.
Yep.
Wow.
And Liberty Tree Mall matches.
That
You
was
remember
unbelievable. Yeah, one of my best Triple H matches. I think it was only my third one. His third match for Kowalski, in
Right.
fact. We'd done two prior to that. But yeah, we did a free show at the mall, which the mall paid for. The
Yeah.
people who come in, it got packed. I mean, there were a couple thousand people there.
Wow.
Right at Center Court, Liberty Tree Mall. And it was a Sunday afternoon with Jimmy Snuka and Perry Saturn on top. And we were right below that. I mean, we stole the show that day. That's
Right.
where we saw we really had chemistry. Because the both of us, we actually put a bunch of moves together from matches we've seen
Yeah.
on TV. Best for the Shawn Michaels, the best of the Ric Flair
Right.
matches. And we made like about a half-hour match back and forth, seesaw. People went crazy. You got it when they're actually counting 1, 2,
Right.
oh, that's rare. But yeah, that was the Liberty Tree Mall. I want to say maybe '93.
Wow.
Wow, he remembers that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he was there, if he saw it
He
on
must
YouTube.
have been.
Wow,
Was
that's
Rich
amazing.
Landon the ref for that match
That's
too?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I think we demanded Rich win all of them.
Right.
And Kowalski knew our stuff so much, he'd try to upset us by, I'm going to throw Cookie Crumbles this night just to get Rich out of there and see if we could still do the same match without him. And it was never the same without Rich. Never the same.
Oh, I believe it. Brian also wants to know, tell us a little about John Rodeo.
John, oh gosh, he
Who
was
was
Triple
a hell
H's
of a
manager.
manager.
Yeah,
Hell
he
of a
became mine
manager.
later on. But yeah, the heat he could draw. That
Right.
little guy was so irritating. I mean, I want to say maybe a mix of a Jim Cornette and a Downtown Bruno, maybe put together. You know, I mean, he had that kind of heat. Always, he put so much effort into his looks, his outfits. I mean, he would put money into that stuff. I swear, more money went out than came in for him. But that's how much he loved it. Hairstyles. I mean, he always went out of his way to be original, be different. So, yeah, John, I loved it. I mean, he did Triple H's matches from the day he started all the way through till he got drafted by Ted Turner over there in, well, before Ted Turner, but yeah, WCW.
Right.
Amazing. Yeah, John is great. John was fantastic.
Is John still around the area?
He is. He got married recently, and shout out to John. He's fantastic. He texted me, like I said, this morning about this show.
Another guy I'd like to get on here.
I just saw you're on Leo's show. I'd love to, he wished me the best.
Nice.
And if you say my name, make sure you say it right, not Rodeo.
Yeah,
Vachon called him John Rodeo.
Right.
No, it's Rodeo. My gosh.
Well, John, if you're interested, man, I swear I'd love to have you on here,
We
too.
do one together. He was my manager once, once the Paul
it would be awesome.
Amazing.
A friend of mine and a fellow Frenchman,
Right.
Dan Bolio.
Bolio, of course. Very Canadian.
He wants to know, now you already mentioned a few of them, but he wants to know who are the biggest names that you've worked with that made you go, wow.
Right,
like,
out of the
I
bunch.
cannot believe.
Right. Oh yeah. God, I mean, they're all my heroes. When I walked in the locker room for the first time, you're seeing guys you've been seeing on TV for 20 years. Like, oh my God, I'm amongst these people. I don't even belong here. Guys are playing cards. Guys. I mean, but I guess the biggest superstar of the bunch was The Rock. I got to work with The Rock in '97. And he became a major. At the time, he wasn't doing much. He was the blue chipper. He was. He had the Intercontinental Championship. Rocky Maivia. Right. Exactly. And he went on to huge things.
Yeah.
But Shawn Michaels was a big deal for me to work with. So I always liked Shawn with his rocker stuff, his Midnight Rocker stuff, and AWA. And he was another guy I should mention out of the guys to work with who was so smooth and let you do whatever you wanted to. What can you do, brother? So he was. I'd say his ego was very big at the time. I was at his worst peak when he thought he was, but he deserved. He could get away with it because he was that good.
He was.
So right, he could back it up.
Yeah.
Maybe not behind the scenes, but at least in the ring. So yeah, that was one of my big guys. I said, my God, I got Michaels tonight, and that goes to that lethal lottery where you go to the board because what they did in WWF is you went to the blackboard around an hour before. You got to be there at 2 PM latest for TV tapings. But they wouldn't put the matches up till around maybe 6. The show started at 7 with the pre-tape, and then so you'd go to the board and oh my God, who am I going to get? You watch Gurria write him down like, oh, there's my name versus oh you poor, you'd see your buddy, you poor sap,
Right.
Oh, you got Mantar tonight. God, but so that lottery was something. That was every night. You're on your edge of your seat till you found out who it was.
Right.
Then you could either be pitter patter or you were smooth.
This isn't one part of Dan's question. I'll get back to his second part.
So much fun
Just
we're having.
curious. Andre, do you have any Andre stories?
He was there. Yeah, he was just there the first year I was there, '88, was his last year where he was really doing much.
Right.
As far as in-ring acts, he was tag team champ with King Haku and at the time Colossal Connection.
Yes.
And he was on. Now I'm on Mark. I'm just coming in, like I said, no independent matches yet, just the school. And I see him coming on a walker, and I'm like, isn't he going to work tonight? I'm with Chris Duffy. If you remember, gorgeous Chris Duffy, legend out here.
I've actually had a couple conversations with him years ago.
Oh, you're kidding!
He was so nice.
I
to
loved
me.
it. He worked me great. A lot of stuff I learned was from Chris.
We'll talk about him on the next one for sure.
Ring
I
technician.
enjoyed his work.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, but he told me, Andre's, doing really bad here. I don't know how much longer he's got to go, but I was so disappointed. I thought he was, and I thought he'd be a big friendly guy. Always smiles. The guy was miserable. Now I find out it's from the pain. I just saw this wonderful documentary. I'm sure you have too.
Wasn't that great?
That was incredible.
That was great.
Yeah, he was in bad. I could see why he was in that kind of shape, but he wouldn't talk to anybody. He was always miserable in the corners, and didn't want to even go shake his hand. And because I just go show respect, shake hand. Not Andre. Andre didn't want to do with anybody at that time. But I understand why now. But at least I got to meet him and see him in the locker room and interact a little bit as far as look, he's right there. My God. So
that's the one wrestler I wish I could have met. Like honestly, you know what I mean?
Same here.
Just because of the size, he just was.
Oh,
larger than life.
Oh, he was. I used to see him in Manchester at the JFK.
Yeah.
He came in there once or twice. What a monster! But always seems so friendly, lovable to kids, and my Lord. But I understand his plight. I really do. The poor guy.
And now Dan's second part was, you probably already mentioned it earlier, but who was your favorite opponent
to work with?
Yeah, like.
Honestly, I'd have to say, no joke, Triple H, not the kisses, like that, because I think there's some heat there but for the stuff I've said over the years. But yeah, he was so smooth, and you could tell even then, his first couple of years in, he was a good guy to work with.
Right.
He understood the business where you could call a spot, we almost thought in the same pattern because we grew up watching the same thing and with the same idea what a match
Right.
should look like. So yeah, he was the most enjoyable guy to work with. I got to say, smooth, just absolutely smooth. So he does deserve what he got. He really
Right.
is a fantastic.
Yeah,
worker.
he worked
Ring
for it,
general.
right? He
Absolutely, he
worked for
did.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He learned so much quicker than anybody else I saw.
Nice. Another friend of mine who also, actually, I didn't tell you, but Dan's been on the show. Dan. Yep, the kid I
Really?
just asked the
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
and then
yeah.
this guy has been on the show a couple times too. Brandon Belanger wants to know, what is it that you like about the wrestling business now compared to back then?
That's tough.
Yeah,
Good
that's what I
question,
was
Brandon.
thinking.
Good question. Good, because I'm more of a fan of the old school stuff.
Right,
I think
me too.
The guys from that era are exactly. I love the fact, because being as a kid, merchandising has come so far.
Right.
What I would have done for a Larry Zbyszko doll or a Bruno doll
Yeah,
back in the day.
yeah.
And the fact they have a network is such a. I mean, you can watch wrestling whenever you want.
Yeah.
You could anything from the archive that you want to see. If we had that as kids, so I do like how
I
they
would've never went
marketed now.
outside.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I swear to God, I would have grown up a couch potato.
Yeah.
But we had 1 hour a week back in the day, so
Right.
you really look forward to it. But yeah, as far as marketing goes, I think today's marketing is a lot better than it was back in the day, where people were in the closet.
Right.
Now people are very marketing, advertising. They really know how to put the product out there, and they have a polished look, a polished product. So that I do like. They took it from the little smoky bars
Yeah.
to what they do now. You know, major. I mean, WrestleMania is a Super Bowl
Right.
of
It's incredible,
It's
huh?
amazing what it does for the whole city.
And from obviously we both know the story of WrestleMania, that if it would have been a dud, there would
Yes.
be no WWE.
Who would
now.
have
He would have been out of
right?
business.
I mean, he financed everything he had just to get
Yeah.
that out there. I didn't know that at the time.
I didn't
was,
either.
I
That's-
was that 85? Yes, so I was 15
yeah.
years old. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Crazy, right?
Did you go see the first one on closed circuit?
Yes,
You did.
I did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Elm Street Junior High back here.
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely loved
I
it.
actually I saw it at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium.
Oh, you went to the big one? Wow.
yes.
No
now
kidding.
I want to ask you a question. You must have wrestled there a few times.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a regular taping place.
Yeah.
for them.
'cause
Sometimes you do
I
two
saw
nights.
you there before, and I saw Perry there when he was the Iron Horseman.
Oh yeah, yeah. They give him a couple
Yeah,
tryouts.
the tryout
Yes,
match.
I've had a
that
few
was
dark
one of the
matches
nights
there,
I
too.
talked to Chris Duffy.
Oh, really? Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
Chris was used all the time. They loved Chris
Right.
over there. Oh, another guy was independent of Walter. They actually paid him his full sale, and he was wonderful. He was wonderful. Yeah, Lowell's a
Good work.
great place for tapings. That little arena there is ideal. I mean, you're
Isn't
right
it
on top of
amazing?
the action. That's
Yeah.
a perfect roundhouse for where they put that's ideal old school.
Yep.
You don't see those arenas anymore. You really don't. They tape in the big giant.
Yeah.
This was intimate. You're on top of the wrestlers, and you got that feel of almost being part of the action. So.
And there's not a bad seat in that building unless you're sitting behind a
No.
guy that's huge. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
That's the,
That's the only way. That's the only way.
It's unbelievable.
Wherever
if you've
you
never
are.
been to the Lowell Auditorium, where I'm from, Lowell, Massachusetts,
Love it.
you should go there.
They did the 205 there recently, and that was
Yes,
yeah,
Ring of
yeah, yeah.
Honor's actually coming there again soon.
Yes,
Ring
yes,
of Honor.
yes, yes. That's
Good
right, too.
product,
That's right,
you
too.
know?
My gosh.
All right, so let's we got like 16 minutes.
All
Let's
right.
play the name game.
Why not? All right,
All
this
right.
is new to me. All right,
All right.
something new, something fresh.
And some of these guys, if you didn't have any interaction with them or anything, just we'll pass.
Could
okay?
happen. Could happen. Yeah.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Never got to meet Bobby. He left before I got there. Actually, you know what? No, we met him briefly when Flair came in for his first. When
Oh, yeah.
they're starting the belt. He was there for that.
Okay.
Flair was trying to learn the back bump over the rope out of the corner, which Ray Stevens used to perfect.
Yes.
And Flair asked us to catch him. Me and Bert were there. He'd catch me, brother. So he didn't want to show it. I want no part to do with this. Get out of my way. So, I mean, he kept to himself. He kept to
Right.
himself, but I hear he was a fantastic guy. Didn't have much interaction with him.
Okay. I know another guy that was enhancement talent, Barry Horowitz, who was one of my favorite enhancement talent guys to watch.
Wonderful,
He
right?
was great. Yeah, but he was really good.
He was wonderful. Oh my gosh, super nice guy. I got a lot of interaction with Barry. He was never put himself above anybody, and when he got his push, he was still the same enhancement guy. You know, he never let it go to his head.
Nice.
He appreciated everything he did. So super guy.
That's awesome. Let's see. There's so many names.
Sure.
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, very standoffish. Because I was a fan of Bret. I wanted
Right.
to learn to work like Bret. I thought he
Yeah.
was one of the best technicians. Couldn't get a word out of Bret more than a hi. I mean, never made eye contact with you. Very standoffish guy. Very different than his brother, who
Yeah.
was the most forward guy in the world. But yeah, very standoffish, very kept to himself type of dude.
Wow. Owen Hart.
See, Owen was one of my closest friends there, no joke. Yeah, oh
Nice.
my God. The guy used to ask how I got my lats that big. How do you get your lats like that, brother? How do you give me training tips? When we'd go, another guy I'd meet when we go to restaurants, he'd come sit with us
Nice.
at the craft table.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be the first guy to come up and greet us, and we'd have to go to him. He would come to us. Tony, you know, 'cause I guess he'd been through the mill with all the Calgary stuff. He'd
Right.
ridden the buses. He'd done all the low end and knew exactly what we were going through. And he liked the guys that he thought were coming up. So he was fantastic. Owen's one of my
They
closest
always
guys
say
there.
that too. Like everybody has, you
Yeah.
know, not just because he passed away either.
No,
He
no,
just
not to
was-
be cliche.
Yeah,
no,
he
that's-
was this
he really
the
was
nicest
genuine,
guy.
genuine guy.
Did you ever? How about the Undertaker?
Undertaker, yes, he was there almost the whole time I was there. My God, of course, he
Really?
lived
Yeah.
at WF, but he was another guy just like Brett. I mean, you couldn't get a word out of him. Kama gave me $100 to give back to him one day, and not so much a thank you. I said, "Take this is from Charles," and no, sure enough, and shouldn't have. I mean, not a thank you, not anything.
right.
But, so I'm like, wow, hell of a guy. But I guess that was just his character, his personality was
Right.
just, boy, just a big tough biker dude. He is legit though. I mean, guys respected him to no end, and he's like in the locker room, he
Yeah.
ran the whole place.
He's like the
They'd go to
Godfather.
him just like to go to Vince. Oh yeah,
Right.
what do you think of this? What did you say about this? And he was always at the monitor day and night. You'd see him always watching the matches with critiquing. So yeah, something
That's
else.
cool. Now, what about his kayfabe brother Kane?
Oh, okay. Oh my God. One of the
Must have been a lot
funniest
different,
Vince
right?
story. Yeah, Kane, it was fantastic. I mean, I heard he just won some mayoral race.
Yes,
I think 17
congratulations.
votes. Cheers, Glenn. But he, one of my funniest Vince McMahon stories out of that. Real quick, I'll try and nutshell
yeah.
it. But we were going over a match when he was the fake Diesel.
Yes.
Fake Diesel. It was him and the fake Razor.
Yep.
After they went to NWA, or pardon me, WCW. We were sitting out in the crowd going over our match with Jerry Briscoe. Well, sure enough, the guy at the top of the thing, we're in this giant arena in Iowa, says, crowd's coming in, let's go, clear the thing. So all the talent was to go back in the locker room.
Yeah.
Well, they were all running through the curtain. It was back when they had the big raw letters, R-A-W, and it was
Yes.
curtains.
Yeah.
So they're flying through, and sure enough, here comes Kane, Len Jacobs, running in front of me, whacks this big heavy curtain, and the other one goes up, and out he goes. So I'm the next guy going through. I give it a whack, and what do you hear behind the curtain? Oh my God, Jesus, oh! So I'm like, who is the dillweed coming out?
Yeah,
from
yeah.
behind I am going to lay this guy out. We're supposed to be going in. This guy's coming out. Sure enough, no joke, it was Vince McMahon with a cup of coffee coming out at the broadcaster's table because he used to do live broadcasting
Yeah.
with JR. Nice suit on. Sure enough, I had knocked his coffee into him as I was whacking the curtain all over his pants. I mean, you talk about shock. Just a job guy.
Right.
Oh! So this goes to Barry Horowitz because he just looks at me. I'm Vince, I will pay for that. I am so sorry. Whatever you need, I take the piece of fabric off the seamstress's tape. I'm trying to wipe his pants. He just throws his cup down and keeps walking. So I'm like, oh my God. So Glenn turns around. Ooh. So I said, listen, the Barry Horowitz is there and Sonny.
Yeah.
I said, guys, please, no joke. This was 96. I still remember
Right.
it like it was yesterday. Can we keep this where it was? This is mortifying for me. It was like a $6,000 cashmere.
Right, and I'm sure they didn't.
So sure enough, yeah, I'm too afraid. I think he's going to have my neck broken tonight. He's going
Right.
to tell Glenn, break this kid's neck. He just ruined the suit. I'm in the shower changing because now I don't want anyone to see me. I slide
Right.
the thing closed, the little shower stalls, and I hear Barry Horowitz out there. Did you hear Tony Orrid clothesline Vince McMahon and throw a hot cup of coffee on him when he was down? Oh my God! Now I don't know to this day if he was working me or
Right.
if he was, but I mean I was wet with perspiration. Oh, I'm not going to make it through this match. This is my last day here. But true story.
That's
my hand to
amazing.
God.
Now,
And that's from Kane.
And you probably thought, really, for real, that you were done.
Oh my God, I'm sweating thinking about it now.
Sure.
That's how, when you see Vince and the look he had in his
Yeah.
face, the disgust for me. Oh, good
That's
God.
hilarious. You had brought up guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, Scotty 2 Hotty, and stuff. I'm going to skip over those guys.
Sure.
Do you have any interactions with Hogan?
Yeah, the first year I was there,
Yep.
he had just dropped the belt to Savage, and he was still there. But he was polite. He gave me the handshake. I went to introduce myself, and he was, how are you, brother? Where are you from? At least he'd show like he was trying to care.
Right.
Whether or not he was at least willing to talk to you and throw little things at you. So he was fantastic. I liked Hulk. Hulk
That's
was,
cool.
Yeah,
How
decent guy.
about a guy that I'm a huge fan of from Mid-Southern wrestling area?
Ooh.
Jerry the King Lawler. I'm a huge King fan.
Oh, Jerry, yeah.
Huge
Jerry
King
had an ego. I mean, he always had young girls around him. Jerry had a big ego, and he was
still
proud of his
likes the
girlfriend.
young
Oh, he
girls.
does. Look what they're doing to his heart, for crying out loud.
I know.
But yeah, he did have a big ego. But I like Jerry. Jerry was cool. We worked a match in Nashville for Wendell Weatherby at St. Stan's Hall back in 2000, maybe 2000.
I was there.
Were you there for that?
was there.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jerry
yeah.
ended up working with, I don't know who the hell he put him with, but yeah, Jerry was on that same card. But he was fantastic. He's willing to work independent, still do
Yeah.
shows for Vince, and he was one of the free agents that could go around and do that kind of stuff. So a good guy and a real businessman. Real good guy.
Pretty sure I was at that show. Was Tommy
Wow.
Dreamer on that
Tommy
show
Dreamer
too?
with Timmy
yeah.
Eady. Yes,
What
hardcore
about
match.
Tommy?
Yeah, I did a ladder match that night. Yes, that was for Wendell Weatherby. Gosh.
What about Tommy Dreamer?
Unreal. Tommy was very respectful.
Yeah.
I saw him down to my last few matches. He was still around doing shows out here for big
Right.
time. Really nice guy. I mean, it put his life on the line for the business. The bumps he took over the years and the shots, God bless him. Nothing but respect for Tommy, and mad love to him.
And
Good guy.
he's got the House of Hardcore going on, his promotion. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, in fact. It's still going. He still looks fantastic. He hasn't aged that much. He looks very good.
Oh, yeah.
He looks very, very good.
I cater. And, I don't have it's a small little business I have on the side. But I actually catered for Tommy's first show, his 5th show, and his 13th show.
You're kidding me.
No, and he's coming back here May 18th.
No, what time is he coming? No kidding.
It's coming, Hanover, Mass.
Hanover, Mass.
Yeah, so maybe
A few free plugs over here. A few free plugs. I love it.
Tommy's a great guy, man. He
Love him,
always
love
treated
him.
me really
Same
good.
here. Oh, same here.
Love him.
Him and Shane Douglas were together. Always good guys.
Right.
Oh,
Now, you
boy.
brought up The Rock. You're good with him. How about, and you brought this guy up, and I'd like to know a little bit more. Rene Goulet.
Oh, Rene Goulet.
I loved watching
Yeah,
him when I
what a
was
good
younger.
worker. He was one of the best workers, underrated, I thought, because
Right.
he never had much of a look for wrestler. Never a huge guy. Had the same torn bicep. Notice I tore one of my biceps clean off. This is pretty ugly, but these are the signs of wrestling. There's half a bicep left on that arm. The other one's torn from the down.
Right.
He had the same bicep thing with me, so we had something in common right off the bat. He never got his fixed either. A Frenchman from Quebec, so we spoke French constantly. So that was my instant connection with Rene.
Right.
Hey, you're from the same region of Quebec that I am, and then sure enough, have you met Terry? And then have you met Jacques? Come here. And then later on, Carl Ouellet came in, the other Rougeau once Raymond
Right.
couldn't do it. Raymond was the announcer then, so all these French guys. So Rene was fantastic, and he was the guy that got me away from Kowalski and working for WWF directly.
Nice. And he did actually have a little
Sergeant
bit of a
Goulet.
push. Sergeant Jacques
Sergeant
Goulet,
Goulet, a little bit,
the
79, 80. Yeah, the Legionnaires, right. Tag team. He was
They
a
were-
tag team champion with Carl Gotch.
Yes,
Was it? Yeah, way back.
WWF.
Way back.
Yes.
Boy, we're dating ourselves here
Yep.
for 29-year-olds.
How about Freddie Blassie? Any interaction with Freddie?
He was in the office when I went there. Barely got to meet him. He was a legend. I mean,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
intimidated. He was one of the guys you're actually intimidated by because
Right.
he had so much of a connection to Hollywood and California, all that stuff. Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never got to talk to him. I was so intimidated. But he was always there. He hung
Right.
out with Skolin and that group of generation. You know,
Yeah.
it was old promoters from that group, and he was part of that. So, but yeah, I nothing but respect for Freddie. My
Nice.
God, everyone there. took
Now,
care of him.
he was a good friend of Regis Philbin.
Yes, he did. I've
And
seen him a couple
he
times
did a
on the
lot
show.
of stuff on the show
Oh,
with
was he
them.
funny? And with the
Yeah.
Sheik. Oh, my Lord have
God,
mercy.
the Sheik.
Iron Sheik. Oh, still my favorite. My wife loves Sheiky. Props to Sheiky.
Nice.
I hear he's doing it. My wife got introduced to wrestling through the Sheik. I said, watch
Right.
this guy, and you'll turn on to wrestling. And she loves him ever since.
Well, I've heard he's
the
doing
shoot
well.
interviews.
I
Is he
heard he's
really doing better now?
Yeah,
Because
I
his foot was
seriously.
bothering
Yeah,
him. Really?
I heard a couple guys from Canada.
Oh, he
took
was
him
a
in, helped them
funny
out,
guy.
and he's supposedly
Thank God.
doing
He was
really
taking collections
good.
in. Yeah. Oh, much deserved. He's such
I met
a
the
funny
Sheik
man.
a couple times, and he
Oh, same
is
here.
just a
For
trip,
Walter.
man.
Oh, Walter, he
He
blew
is-
up so quick. What a guy.
I got to ask you about this
Medicine
guy,
man.
Chief Jay Strongbow.
Oh, Chief Jay, another one of the agents. Another
Yep.
one of the agents. Chief Jay and George Steele hung out a great deal. George the Animal Steele, who, because I came in at 18, had no idea he could really talk. I was always going, you.
Right.
So to think, one of the first guys that came up and said, all right, you're going to be working with, wait, you talk?
Yeah.
And he's probably, who sent the mark over here? Lord, once
That's
again,
awesome.
you're going to work with. But yeah, Chief was another real quiet guy. He was like Kowalski, and
Right.
Kowalski loved him. These guys praise each other for longevity, and as far as, I guess he can go forever. Chief Jay Strongbow had a iron will. He could keep going and
Right.
could blow guys up, so he was notorious for that. But a very harsh critic. When you came back, whether you're a superstar, he always had something to say that could have been better. Boy,
Wow.
always bitch up my oil on. Don't put any oil on, kid. You're blocking your pores. Get that off.
I had to ask you because I was a huge Chief Jay fan. I was.
Oh, same
you know.
here, same
Bruno
here.
was my man. You know what I mean? His little, but Chief Jay was right behind him.
Absolutely. Big loss.
And
Both of them.
Pedro.
Big loss. Pedro Morales.
Was he wasn't there.
Never got to
I was
meet him.
gonna
No,
say, he
we don't know
had
what
to
happened to
big
him. He
one.
just
Yeah.
disappeared, huh?
I know he's still alive, if I'm not.
They just found him alive somewhere in
Yeah.
a wheelchair, but he's doing poorly. But yeah, at least he's still with us. Don Leo Jonathan turns out still with us too.
Yeah.
From that amazing.
Dude, he was so big.
A big
Scared the
dude.
crap out
89
of
this
me
year.
just
Yeah, a
watching him on
monster.
television.
Monster.
He was a great wrestler.
Wow.
How about Jerry Briscoe?
But Jerry Briscoe, one of the agents. Yeah,
Yeah.
always put our matches together. Jerry would always come up before the matches. He worked in the office, and I respected him. Him and his
Right.
brother Jack were so good.
Yeah.
And I guess he was respected by the boys. He was a legit shooter. So if any guy got out of the control, Vince would send Jerry after him, who you'd never think.
Right.
I mean, he was a little guy.
Yeah.
Not imposing at all, not very
Jack
tall.
was much bigger than him.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, Jerry was a little runt of the family. He just a tall, thin guy, but boy, could he, hook guys, not just shoot, but hook guys. So,
Right.
yeah, very respectful and a very, very nice guy. He knew what enhancement was all about, and he knew how to take care of a match, and, so he put things together for us all the time. Good guy.
How about Alpha, the Wild Samoan?
Wow. Oh, my Lord.
Because I know he was there for a while when you were there,
Yes,
right?
with the head shrink, he was managing the head shrinkers, and I was afraid of these guys.
Right.
That's another example of guys you were afraid to work with because they could lay in hard, but they wanted it back as hard.
Yeah.
You know, brother, don't be afraid to give it back. But crying out loud, the harder you gave it, the harder they gave it back. So,
Right.
But yeah, he took wrestling very seriously, always protected the business, and another one of the guys that won't even do shoot interviews because he
Right.
still wants to kayfabe. He wants
Yes.
to live in that kayfabe stage, which it's a shame that broke in a way because I really miss that. I really miss the kayfabe era. You know, and
Oh, definitely.
Bruno always protected it too. All the
Yes,
last
he
day,
did.
he had
and
a
it took
lot
him a
of
long
trouble.
time. And I'm so glad seeing that he just passed.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he at least, mended
He
the
did.
wound
He did.
to get in where he belongs.
Exactly.
In the
Of
Hall of
all
Fame.
people, yeah, he should have been there before anybody else. So it
Him
took
and
that
Andre
long,
should have
but
went in together, I
thank
think.
God. Yeah,
They
right.
were
The
Andre
first,
was the
absolutely,
first one.
exactly.
Yeah.
exactly.
You talked about the head shrinkers. How about Sabu?
Sabu. Oh yeah, only got to do him on the Independents. Got to meet him a few times. Crazy guy. Outside of the, I guess he's a little cleaner now than he was. But I met him at his point where he was barely conscious behind the curtain.
Right.
But when the bell rang, the guy would come out of the curtain like a wild man. And I said, my God, he was to the point where at one point he came back from a match and drank a bottle of tan lotion, where she thought it was a beer. Just poured it right down, swallowed. And my partner Bob Rush and Rush
Yeah,
from
yeah.
French Connection. My tanning lotion. Like, oh my God. Don't say anything. You know what? You better leave him alone. But crazy guy. He's still going to this day, I guess, Sabu.
Really? Now, see, he's not on the list, but you brought him up. I'd like to ask you, how's Bob Rush doing right now? How's Bob?
Oh, fantastic. My God, he manages
guys were a
Boston
great
Sports
tag
Fitness.
team.
Weren't we funny? It was more of a comedy
guys-
at that point.
yeah.
We were both running in the older leagues and
awesome.
we were injured. But yeah, we tried to keep it funny and
Yeah.
entertaining for the crowd. And it worked out. It worked out. You know, Bob had such a look. I mean,
Right.
he was like another Triple H. Long hair, the nose, the face. He just a good guy. So yeah, we became best of friends. He was the best man at my wedding.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Nice,
no
nice.
joke. No
I
joke.
got to ask you, where did you come up with poo-poo on you?
I think that was
Did you
random.
just-
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Random, one day.
Really?
Yeah, I figured, what could some French guy say? And I had seen cartoons where they did
Yeah.
that, People Le Pew and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, a little poo-poo would be kind of funny. And it caught on right away. Pat Patterson was there the first night I did it in a show with Triple H, in fact, where we were just joking around. And he loved it. I thought he'd take it for sure. I said, someone's going to get that on TV.
Right.
Closest thing was Maurice.
Yeah, yeah.
She used it a few times, but I think I did it better. So, yeah, we always kept that going. And that got over pretty easy with the kids.
That's cool. We got a couple minutes. Let me throw a couple more names
Sure,
at you.
this is fun.
Bob Backlund. You brought him up earlier, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Another guy who's completely off his
Right.
his rocker, but a great technician, and he takes it seriously, too. Here's
Yeah.
a guy that thinks it's a shoot, and I swear to God, he came back for one of our matches. I think we got him. He's all excited, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, he protects the business. To this day, he still says it's
Yep.
a shoot. He's willing to go in there with you and prove it if you don't believe him. What is he now? He's got to be in his 60s.
Oh, yeah, 63, I
and
think
he's in
I saw,
great
yeah.
shape. I mean,
Yeah.
God, still a cardio master.
You know, he
can
just
go
wrote a
forever.
book, right?
Yes,
He's got
it's
a
one of
book
the best
out.
ones
I
they
want it.
say
I haven't
ever.
got it yet, but I definitely want to
No,
pick
John
it up.
Rodeo's got an autograph copy. He
does
yeah,
he?
I got to
Nice.
meet him. Yeah, oh yeah, love
Nice.
Bob. Love Bob.
How about Kamala? Have you meet
Kamala,
Kamala?
yeah,
How was
worked with
Kamala?
him.
I heard he was a
Oh,
nice guy.
Super nice guy. Lost his legs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I worked with him in a few places around here, but our last one was in Gloucester. Him and Doink as a tag team.
Oh, okay.
Kamala and Doink, and he would let you do whatever you wanted. You know what? Just give me the finish. Anything you guys want to do. So I mean, a gentleman, and soft-spoken, nothing at all like his character.
Right.
As a kid, he scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Especially like in the mid-southern area in Texas. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, if that guy ever comes to our area, we're done.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, he was fantastic. What a good guy.
A controversial guy, Bad News Brown.
That I got to work with him. You know what? There's my fourth match was Bad News Brown. That first tour I told you about.
And how was that?
Another guy who was stiff as a brick. I mean, his finish, that Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's legit. He was a karate expert, a judo master.
I was going to say, he's a legit shooter, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, and respected. So yeah, even the guys told Chris Duffy, be careful of this guy, and make sure you do what he says because he will. You mess up, he'll let you know it. No pressure.
Yeah, no
pressure, right?
pressure.
I'm
Don't worry.
18.
But don't get him mad at
Don't
you.
get him riled up. Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
I really want to thank you, Tony, for coming on tonight.
So much fun.
We'll definitely
So
do
much
this
fun.
again in a couple weeks
Oh,
if
I'm looking
it
forward to
works
it.
out for you.
Absolutely. Love to talk about this kind of stuff.
Guys,
Wow.
it's been a great day. I hope everybody else had a great day. I got Wednesday night, I'm back in studio doing a shoot interview. We'll be going at 7 o'clock with James Allen, the promoter and owner of New World Wrestling Extreme Combat. So he's got a big show coming up May 19th. But again, Tony, thank you so much.
A real pleasure. A real
We're
pleasure.
definitely going to do this again in a couple weeks.
Can't wait to share some more.
Guys, I'm out. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.